Hello.
How's it going? Hello, indeed. Melissa, you said you were full of garlic bread.
Yeah.
Congratulations, first of all.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
Great thing to be full of. Yeah.
My family's
You,
really proud.
Yeah. No, so let me get this straight. You,
They
your
put the
brother's
garlic
birthday
on the bread. It's me, your cousin, Marvin Garlic Bread. You know that new
Not
bread
what I
you're
was gonna
looking
ask.
for? Taste this.
Not what I was gonna ask, but I like where this is
Uh-huh.
going. No, so we are recording this on Saturday night. Yesterday
Yeah.
was your brother James's birthday, right? So you
Yes.
went off and did that. But today you were at some family event most of the day, right? Was that for
Yeah.
the birthday, or was this like a 4th of July
No.
thing, or was this just a
No, just a memorial for assorted uncles that have died over the last year.
Gotcha.
It was fun, though. Like, I feel like I always have to prep people when it's like, oh, one of my uncles died, and like, yes, it's sad, but like, we're all right. Like, we're fine.
Yeah.
We're all gonna like stand around and eat barbecue and be pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's always an interesting thing to have conversations around that. Not to be a bit of a downer, we'll get off of this in a sec here, but yeah, I had a cousin pass away not too long ago, and it's always really like I liked him, but I was never close with him. But I'm also not close with really any of my family. And so when they like, they're like, what are your favorite memories of him? I'm just like, oh, geez. Well, I remember his name.
Oh, boy.
Just like, I don't know. Like, I remember something from when I was really young, but that's about it. Like,
right.
I don't have these memories. And sometimes you do, but you just like, it's always hard to know how to navigate those situations. So, anyways, Sam is in the chat. What's up, Sam?
Hi, Sam.
Sam says, Phase 2 and From Black. I don't know what that means, but that's it. That's it.
Sam's up to something.
That's what's happening. Sam, how are you? What are you up to? That's what we want to know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to number 150 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. Yeah.
I forgot.
150.
We should have planned something.
Oh, Fade 2 and From Black. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, 150 is definitely a milestone, but it's also like not one of the like monumental milestones, if you know what I mean. So I didn't plan anything besides our like regular shenanigans that we do here on the Captain's Log. I think tonight is going to be very chill. I think it's going to be very fun.
We're both sleepy.
Excited. Yes.
Why are you sleepy?
I may have stayed up really late binge watching stuff and then went out to my comic book store today. So I like it's kind of amazing how fast just like being out in the sun will make you tired.
Yeah, sun it gives you energy, but it takes your energy.
Right, yeah. And I like went out to the comic book store, came back, had crossplay, then we were playing it by ear for this thing tonight of like, I've already done quite a bit and I'm tired on top of that. Like, I don't know if we'll play this by ear, but I'm still, like, I'm feeling good despite it all, right? So, go. Sam says, ask me if she started Infinity Train yet. I'm guessing this is for you. Melissa?
Yeah, I haven't started Infinity Train yet. I think Tim's still watching it. I'm going to ask him. Like, I'm going to tell him notify me as soon as you are done, because we share an HBO Max profile. So I can't watch anything he's in the middle of watching, or we'll get our wires crossed.
Screw it up, yeah.
Mm.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, it's a good show. I agree with Sam. Oh. It says, ask Mel if she started Infinity Train, and I read that as ask me with an exclamation mark. Ask me if she started Infinity Train yet. That's why I was like, I'm guessing that's for you, Melissa. This is the kind of energy that you're getting today on the show. Right. I like it.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Melissa, how has your week been?
It's been fine. This was my final week working from home. I get to go back on Tuesday. We get Monday off for like 4th of July holiday long weekend. Yeah, Tuesday I'm back there. I'm back there full time.
There you go. Are you like planning how you'll make your entrance? Like, do you have like a theme song that you'll be playing as you walk down the halls to your cubicle or wherever you are?
Yeah, I want to run through a big sheet of paper like at a basketball game while they play Peter Gabriel's Big Time.
And in this corner.
But then my cubicle's like the first one. Like I have the shortest walk, so it's not going to be like really monumental.
I gotcha. Short walk then. That's not bad. Yeah, so we still don't know. It still is looking like we get to work from home if we want to or stuff like that. We're still working from home through Labor Day. Again, I don't remember which one is which. The one that's in September. Marks like the start of school. We'll be working from home for then. It still looks like we'll be able to continue on after if we want, but we still haven't gotten final say yet. But there you go. So you get to go back to the office. I know you're excited.
I love my office. I love to see my coworkers, see faces, human faces. I got like nice desktop boxes to put like little supplies and snacks in. Cool. I'm going to bring one of my bouquets of flowers from home, but then I bought a new bouquet of flowers to replace that one here at home. So I'm never short one. I always have to be up. I need an extra bouquet of silk flowers from Michael's. Got to be ready for any occasion. Gonna print out new pictures to stick to my desk. I bought a calendar. Everything. All the things you got to do, I guess.
Yeah. The one thing that I left at my cubicle at work is I had the like metal like insulated water bottle that will like keep things cold all day.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that. That's the only thing that I had at my
there was a water in it. Was there?
No, not.
Oh,
I
good.
don't think so.
So you're gonna come back, and there's like a sea monkey community. Namor lives in there.
I found Atlantis, you guys. Yeah, I don't know. Like I want to decorate my cubicle, but I don't want to decorate that one. Does that make sense? Like I don't feel like my work, or at least my work environment, is not the place to be like, I'm gonna have like wacky Street Sharks action figures in the back there and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's me and my personality, but I don't know if it's like this feels like the right place to do all of that. Like I'm not gonna have all the posters and stuff that I have back here.
No, mine's fully decked out. Do you know this picture? It's like a man wearing a sweater from like a 1980s sweater knitting like pattern book. And he's wearing this big pastel pink sweater. And on the front, it says, "I'm a luxury." And on the back, it says, "Few can afford." And he's also holding like a giant parrot or a
I've
cockatoo or something.
never seen this. No.
It's the most boss-looking photo. I'm going to print it out. I want that pinned to my desk, and I think you should do the same because it's really going to make your coworkers take you seriously.
If they can afford it.
Right. You got to pay the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of big bucks, though, and work stuff, I got a raise at my job.
You did?
I did. Yeah, it's wonderful. I actually found out about it 2 weeks ago, the night we did our trivia night.
Yeah.
I guess that was last week. But yeah, it'll start showing up on Tuesday when I go back to work. That's when it goes into effect. But yeah, I know I've mentioned on the show a number of times of like, I should sit down with my work and just be like, what the fuck, right? Like all all of that stuff. And I finally got to do that. I thanked them for the raise and voiced some frustrations.
Oh, way to go.
So yeah, that went well, and it was very encouraging. So
nice.
Good stuff. That's the work update.
Good. I got my annual performance review this week. My boss broke it down in numbers exactly how much revenue my department made and how much of that revenue was directly from me. I won't give you the exact numbers, but I'll say that it was the most of it. Not the majority of it, not like over half of it's me. But if you break it down between every member of our department, I'm like a couple percentage points higher.
Employee of the month over here, Melissa Wilkinson.
Yeah, I've just got like weird monster titles. That's the only reason. They could have given those to anybody.
Okay.
But it is nice to know I can consider myself the bacon bringer. Except for the vegan guy. I guess I'm the bean bringer. He can eat the beans. He won't eat the bacon.
Vegan like tofu bacon or something? Yeah. I don't know what they do over there.
It's just like a curvy strip that's bacon colored.
It just says bacon on the box, and that's the only thing that indicates that this was supposed to be bacon.
It's bacon with the O removed.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. I also got a little raise, little bump, which is enough to compensate for me contributing to my 401k. Like, I get to do this now, and basically my paycheck's not different.
Interesting, though. Interesting. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mentioned I had been binge watching stuff, so I feel like we should go into our cinema corners, aka the cinema is your couch or my bed, stuff like that.
Yes.
I've watched quite a bit since we've last updated all of this stuff.
Wow.
I finally saw Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
I sure did. This was an interesting one. I liked it a lot. I feel like maybe it was a little overhyped, but it was fascinating because of Adam Sandler. Like, this is not a role I expect him to be in. And he's fascinating to watch be this, like, scumbag guy.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, I was thinking about that and thinking about Loki. Because I'm also not a big fan of Owen Wilson all that much. But to see him in this role where it's a more serious role, it's just like I kind of like this when they like do these things you don't expect, because you can see them like stretch their legs and stuff like that, and it's really fun. Yeah, Uncut Gems is pure chaos.
It is. I love it so much.
It's like at the end of the day, when you really think about it, there's not much plot.
No.
But it's something is always happening. Like someone is always saying something or yelling something. And it's like, that is the energy of the movie. And it's just like, I don't know what I'm watching, but okay, this is fun. Like, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
It's
good.
quite a roller coaster, that one.
Finally saw that one. Yeah. Did not expect the end. What happened at the
Right?
end there. Did not expect that.
Through the end credits themselves.
Yeah.
The song they picked to play over the end credits is such an interesting choice.
It really is. It is. And then on top of that, I have now seen all 3 seasons that are out so far of Killing Eve. I decided to jump in on that one because it's been on my list for a long time.
Kyle, I've pitched that show to you like 3 times.
I know you have, and it just hasn't been the right time. It hasn't been the one. And I finally was just like, now is the time. And it's something that we can absolutely still watch on the review show because it would be fun to talk about for sure. But yeah, I've seen all 3 seasons that are out now. I think the 4th and I think final season is coming out. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's coming out either like later this year or next year or something. It's a very good. There's some interesting choices being made in that show. It has a very strange sense of humor that I like, but it's just an odd choice for this show.
I love choices.
Yeah, it's definitely a choice. And they do in season 3. The one nitpick that I have is, you know how when shows do their like establishing shot, and then it like in big bold fonts, they're just like Louisiana, and it has it on screen there or something like that. That's what this show does. But in season 3, they up the amount of times that they do that to where it's also character names. Like when you like switch scenes to focus on a different character, it'll be like Christina. Right? It's
That's
just
helpful.
Like, now we're following them. But it's not like here's a new character. It's just like, okay, now we're switching back to see what this character is doing. And so it's locations and characters, and then it's also like locations, like smaller locations within the location that you already. So it's happening all the time, and it's just like, why are they doing this so much? Like, I don't need all of this information.
Wow.
Like, it's just like it's too much.
I kind of dig that because we're watching Dark right now, and I wish Dark had that so much. I've seen shows where I wish it would lay that out for me, so I'll take it where I can get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to do the establishing shot and be like, hey, the name of this setting is this. That makes sense. It's like it's the right information, and I can see the same thing being made for the character names. But when you do the locations and the character names and the sub-locations and all, it's just like, oh my god, every scene has this. And it's just like, no, I don't want this. This is too much. So there has been that. And then the thing that I was up late binging last night is I started The Expanse on Amazon Prime.
You're going to have to remind me which one that is.
This is Prime original sci-fi show. It's based on a series of novels. I didn't know much about it going into it, except that it's a sci-fi show and that it's supposedly really stinking good. And Melissa, let me tell you, it is really stinking good. Like, holy moly. I was expecting to be like, yeah, I'll check it out. I'll watch the first 1 or 2, and then, you know, this next week or something, I'll watch season 1 before I go on my vacation. I basically watched all of season 1 that night. It was that good. I watched the first 8 last night, and then watched the final 2 today. And there's like 5 seasons of that out right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been going strong for a while. But it is one of the most like Kyle shows.
There's a mech suit that travels through time and that travels through time to heist banks.
Not those. But it's hard
the mech has
sci-fi.
a cotton candy in each hand.
Right. It's hard sci-fi. It has the like military intrigue that I like. There's also a detective. It's like partly a detective story.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's they've like Earth became overpopulated, so they started to colonize space, specifically Mars. There's also colonies out in the asteroid belt to mine resources and stuff like that. And Earth and Mars are kind of rivals now. They're at each other's necks. And the people out in the asteroid belt, they are kind of this third burgeoning faction that's like, hey, we want independence now. We want to be our own nation. And the whole, at least the first season, revolves around there are things that are happening where it seems like the whole situation has been in a Cold War, where it's like this big stalemate. They all have their guns to one another, but nothing is happening. And then weird things start happening where it's like, okay, this makes it seem like Earth did this, but it wasn't them. But the Earth could also equally blame this, but it wasn't them. And so they're like, something is happening that is just like, we need to figure out what is going on and all of that stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's really
good.
It's
mystery.
A great mystery. And I really like the sci-fi stuff. In there, they've touched on, hey, for people who spend a lifetime in lower gravity, their bone density is not as good as it is on Earth here. So they're taller, but their bones are more brittle. And if they come down to Earth, they have like bad musculature and stuff like that. So it's just yeah, it's it's stuff like that where they have those details in there that I'm just like, yes, I like this sci-fi. That it's not
fun.
Just like we can go wherever we want and live out in space as long as we want. It's like, no, there's actually going to be repercussions of this stuff here. So I'm fascinated by this show. It's so good.
I like repercussions. I like repercussions and choices.
Absolutely. Don't
That's
we
what
all
I look
just
for
love
in most
choices
narratives.
and repercussions? Yeah, it's just like it's hard to, because the show doesn't do the thing where it's like at the end of the first one, it's like, here's the thing that happened that will hook you to do all of this. Like, it doesn't tell you what that thing is, and that is the mystery. Like, you have to watch all of season 1 to kind of get a grasp on, oh, okay, so I understand what's happening here a lot better now. But the way they do all of the dialogue and stuff, like, it's great. It's fascinating. It's yeah, top notch.
Nice.
So
good to hear. I've never really tracked that show. I think when I hear the name, I can't attach it to any particular thing. Like The Expanse sounds like it could be 6 different shows.
Sure, yeah, and that was the same thing with me, that I was like, all that I heard was like, The Expanse, oh man, fucking great, best sci-fi show that's out there right now. And I was like, okay, cool, I guess that's it. And like, I still didn't hear anything, and so it was one of those ones like, I should probably check this out to see what it is. And then I watched it and was just like, oh, they are right, this is so good. But it's hard to like, it's hard to say like what it is about without spoiling it. And
okay,
yeah, it's really good. So
much quality sci-fi out there. I was at this party last night and someone was telling me how I have to watch Babylon 5. How Babylon 5 is supposedly great. And it's like,
isn't that a Star Trek thing?
It's very much like a Star Trek. It aired around the same time as some Star Trek, but it isn't that. And I'm like,
Babylon
I haven't
5,
even seen that
Deep
much
Space
Star
9,
Trek.
It's all the same to me.
Right. Like, that's what I have to get to first. I'm going to watch some Star Trek, some like original, some next gen, those foundations before I move on to anything else. I can't even consider a Babylon 5 now.
Yeah, for sure. And last but not least, Melissa, it's been a hot Gundam summer. That's what I've been up to. I started my rewatch of the Universal Century timeline for Gundam, which is their like main timeline. The original show back in 1979 kicked it all off, and that like the stuff that happens in that timeline is by far the like most beloved Gundam stuff. It's the most fleshed out.
Okay.
A lot of the Gundam shows are in that timeline, but not all of them. There are shows that are just like, it's a different creator doing their own spin, and it's just that one show or that one movie or stuff like that. But there was a new movie that came out recently in Japan, and it finally hit the US, and it was streaming on Netflix. So you guys can all go watch it. Now, I don't recommend it as like a first thing if you're getting into it. Actually, you'd probably be entirely lost on what is going on. Holy shit, it was so good. I loved it.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I started my rewatch of that last year of all the stuff leading up to this. Didn't finish it, so I started it again a month ago ish. I kind of forgot that this movie was coming out, and then like a week or two ago, I was like, oh yeah, that thing's out or will be out. I was like, well, I need to finish this stuff, and I looked at all the stuff I had left, and it was like perfect timing. I got done with all of this stuff like right before it, like the day before. So Gundam Hathaway is the one that came out on Netflix. And for Gundam fans out there, if you happen to be a gay Gundam fan, this was really, really good. It was beautifully made. I loved the story. Some interesting, very, very interesting turn of events, as well as what they do with the series. The main character is not a new type pilot. And for Melissa, they think a pilot, but a Jedi, if that makes sense.
It doesn't.
Just they're out in space, and because they're out in space, they've kind of evolved. They're now using more of their brain than a normal human, so they often have like psychic powers and stuff like that. Not telekinesis and stuff like that, but just like more empathetic and can feel people and can like communicate without really speaking and stuff like that.
All right.
That's usually who the main pilots are in that like main timeline. It's always some kid. But this didn't follow a pilot, a new type pilot, which was interesting. And it followed someone. I won't say that. That's getting into a little bit It's getting into a little bit of spoilers, but yeah, fascinating stuff. I hope they do more, because as much as I liked it, it left things a little disappointingly flat. Of just like, there's no way that this would happen in the movie without this other character saying something or like being involved, and we didn't get them at all. And it was just like, what are they doing? Like, why didn't we see these events? So I liked it, but I hope it means that there is more coming down the road. So Sam says, I know you stuttered, but it sounded like you said gay Gundam fan just now. Hell yeah, gay Gundam fans. This one's for you.
It's our primary demographic.
Right? Yeah. Finally, a podcast for gay Gundam fans.
Are you gay? Is the Gundam gay? Not clear. I don't know if Gundams are like Transformers and they have a soul and they can love.
Well, no, not really. But
they're just like suits, right?
They are. Yeah, they are giant robot. They're machine. Yeah, it's something you pilot, right? They don't transform like Transformers, but they do transform in the sense that, like, oh, they're like, when they're in combat mode, they are that like humanoid thing. Some of them can transform into like more of like a fighter pilot style thing.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it was like they've got like a little computer in there, like they talk, like they're like Kit from Knight Rider, but
no,
they
don't talk. They're not. Sam mentions the LFOs from Eureka 7. No, they're not like that. There is. I mentioned the new types, and it is this idea of like, hey, when people moved out to space, they started to evolve, and these are the ones that are starting to evolve. They're called new types, and there's been some weird things with new types. Whether they exist truly or not is kind of up for debate in the like general public there, because there's so few of them. But there is one. It was a movie. It was the like movie sequel to Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, where there is this like odd instance of someone's soul kind of attaching to this Gundam and piloting it out, and piloting it without there actually being a pilot in the thing.
So were they dead? So was it like a ghost, or was it like an astral projection piloting a Gundam?
It's one of those things where it's ambiguous. Like, it's not, they say it's the soul, but like, what is a soul really? You don't really know. So that was Gundam Narrative. If you are curious about that one, that's what it's called. Mobile Suit Gundam Narrative.
Is just called Narrative.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a hot Gundam summer. I'm
Enjoy
excited. Yeah. Indeed. Good stuff. So I've rambled on for a long time about all the stuff that I've been watching and stuff. Melissa, what have you been up to?
Last week, or the week before, like 2 weeks ago, Jack and I watched Donnie Darko. Did you watch Donnie Darko when you were young?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
It's on my list of shame. I'm hesitant to watch it because I know it's a little bit more of a scary movie, but I don't know if it's
no, it's not.
Because like that's the like it's I know it's not like straight up horror, but I know that like there's parts to it that like I know people can find scary, which is usually like, I'm fine with stuff like that, where it's like, it's not really a horror, but it's like, there are some maybe scary bits in this here and there, but not much. It's not meant to be that or something. So
yeah, I don't think it's scary. I think it's just eerie. Yeah.
Okay.
This was a movie that it came out in like the early 2000s, and I went to school with so many kids who loved it, in like middle school and high school. Yeah, all the Hot Topic regulars were real into Donnie Darko. And like I never really knew what it was. Like I knew there was like a guy in a bunny suit, and he's like, I'm not wearing a bunny suit, you're wearing a human suit. Ha ha ha. And like no concept of what it was beyond that.
Yeah.
And I finally watched it in like 11th grade or something, like after like the height of everybody I went to school with loving this movie. And I'm like, okay, I don't really get it. And I've been meaning to watch it again as an adult. And I think its reputation has changed to be like, oh, that movie's kind of pretentious. It's just for like teenage boys who think they're deep, who think they're edgy. Yeah. But I really wanted to watch it again and see what I felt about it as an adult, sitting down, like consciously watching the whole thing when I had like a bit more of an idea of what I was going in for. And it was like a really rainy, stormy night, very moody outside. So Jack and I decided to watch this. We had to find it somewhere. And like, it was, I thought, oh, it's on Pluto TV. I'll watch it on Pluto TV because everything on there is free. And I know I've been to that app before and I was able to like search and find something, but I go to the app now. Maybe it's different on my Fire TV than it is on my Roku. I don't know, but I went there and there's no search function. Like I can't find a magnifying glass anywhere. So I just have to go through like, is it in the sci-fi fantasy folder? It is in the cult hits folder. Is it in the horror folder? I keep looking. I can't find it. I can't search for it. I'm trying to ask my remote, which I never do. I never talk to that thing. Like, I leave it alone.
Activate Pluto and then TV and play Donnie Darko now. Siri, Hal, whatever your name is.
And I sound embarrassed because I'm like, I don't want to ask for help watching Donnie Darko. What am I, 14? So I'm like, Alexa, please find Donnie Darko. We eventually, like, we could not get it to work on Pluto. We had to go to like the IMDb TV app where like they stream movies.
Interesting.
We had to go find it there. And it came with commercial breaks.
Sometimes I've noticed that the IMDb movies are available in Amazon. Like if you watch them through Amazon, you can watch it for free. But yeah, like you said, it's with commercials and it says like presented by IMDb or something. So I don't know if it's the same catalog or what, but yeah.
We watched an IMDb TV. That's too many letters. I top out at 4 letters. I can't say 6. and they keep putting in commercials, which is fine, but they come at the most awkward times, the most abrupt times. And this is a movie where a lot of things happen abruptly to begin with, like not jump scares, just like, oh, suddenly we're doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like narratively jumpy. And like, there's like the plot of the movie is that Donnie Darko, like he sleepwalks. That's literally his name. He's just like a normal suburban boy, but his name is Donnie Darko. And he like sleepwalks. He has a weird dream or a premonition or something where the bunny man writes like a date on his arm and it's like the date and time the world's going to end. And so he's just walking around high school like, world's going to end in like a couple days, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. And he's like in this therapy session and his therapist asks him, Donnie, do you really believe that the world's about to end? And he looks thoughtfully. Then it immediately cuts to like a Liberty Mutual commercial.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
And then for like a minute and a half, you watch these dumb commercials, and then it comes back, and there's Jake Gyllenhaal right where you left him, and he's like, "Yeah, I think the world is gonna end." They put a commercial break in 30 seconds from the end of the movie. It's
yeah, they do that. It's terrible.
It added to the experience so much, though. I think watching it like this is I think it's less respectful to the film, but it made it a real fun night.
Absolutely.
I'm going to remember this more than if we just watched the movie like regular.
It stinks too because they usually play the same advertisements over and over again. It's always the same ones, and it's like you
come to
get
Carvana.
3 things. Yeah,
Right.
you get 3 things, and it's those 3 ads over and over and over again, and it's just like, ugh, this
Yeah.
is awful. This is the
Like
worst.
Hulu is the only thing I have that has commercials on it, except for when I go watch a one-off movie on one of these weird ads like Pluto or
Yeah.
Tubi or whatever. And like there's just like a small family of commercials that are always on Hulu. So I spend all my time looking at Limu, Emu, and Doug, and I don't know, are these characters popular? Do people like Limu, Emu, and Doug, or do they just keep happening?
That's so funny. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just like
that's
there's certain apps that do that have commercials in that way where you have to watch them, and like on Twitch here, we're live on Twitch right now. They do the
yes.
same thing where it's like you get like 2 or 3 ads. That's it, but it's always the same ones, and it's just like I don't understand. Like I I guess they're either not finding the clients that want to advertise on there or what, but it's just like you feel like they would be able to get more, especially since this is
Mm,
owned by Amazon.
hmm.
In the video game world, Amazon has tried to make video games, and they put
Mm.
out said video games without marketing those games. And it's just like,
What?
how do you do that? You literally have the platform of Twitch. You can run this for free. It's free advertising for you on your own platform, and you told no one, and then you wonder why your game failed. And it's just like, I don't understand why, like, instead of showing me the army commercial that everyone hates, like, why don't you mix it up and play an alcohol ad and do this ad and advertise your game or your new season of The Expanse or this thing or
Mm-hmm.
that thing? It's just like, I don't understand.
Mm.
As much as I don't like them, I don't like ads. I finally started paying for YouTube Premium to get rid of
Right?
ads.
It's the
I
one of
hate
the best choices I've ever made.
the one thing I don't like is how expensive it is. It is god awful expensive.
See,
16
I
bucks
don't
a
I
month.
it is not $16 a month.
It
How much am
it
I
so
paying for it?
I have a free 1 month trial right now, and when that is up, it will start charging me 16 bucks a month. It's $15.99.
I don't think I pay that much.
So the weird thing I had was I tried to do it because I think I was watching I saw I think it was one of the new rock stars like low key breakdowns, or
Yeah.
maybe it was a kind of funny reaction. And it was like 20-minute video, and I got like 7 ads, like ad
Ooh.
breaks. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I fucking hate this. And so I tried to activate it on my Roku TV, and all it had was like an info card to be like, go to this website and type in this thing, and you can activate it
Mm.
on a phone or a PC. And so I tried to do it on my phone, and on my phone, it was it when it brought up the website, it said it was $12.99 a month. I was like, okay, still more expensive than I would want, but not too bad, because I know YouTube
Mm.
Premium also gives you the like YouTube music app and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I can see that I'm paying for extra stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but then for some reason it wouldn't activate on my phone. So I went to my laptop and I activated it on that, but on the same like informational page where it had like, hey, you have this 1 month
Mm.
trial, but after that where it will start charging you, it was more expensive on my laptop, and it said $15.99.
I pay $10 a month, Kyle. I don't know what happened to you.
They're scamming me or something, because I was like, $15 a month? What the fuck? Like, I just want no ads. Like, that's all I want.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you clicked an extra box to add in something else. I don't know. Or like I got some. I've had this since like 2017. Maybe I got grandfathered into some sort of deal.
Maybe you did. Because they had YouTube Red. You remember
yeah,
what that was?
Yeah, I joined when it was still YouTube Red.
It might be that. You might be grandfathered in with that. Because now I think they've gotten rid of YouTube Red. Like, that's no longer a thing. Yeah. It's just YouTube Premium. And yeah, it's no advertisements on YouTube. You can, if you're like on your phone or something, you can shut the screen off and still listen with headphones, which is really nice. Yeah, you can download things to watch when you have no internet, stuff like that. And I mentioned the music app that it has. You can do all of that stuff. So they're like bundling more things in with that, but it's still just like, I just want no ads. Like, I don't even, like, I'm fine to have my phone playing the video while it's in my pocket. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm fine with that, but I don't know. Oh, well. So
that's weird.
Chaotic times at Darko High. Is what Melissa had there.
It's a movie I do understand a lot better now. I will say that I can see why it became a little, like its reputation got a little obnoxious, but I look at it and there's real craft there. It's definitely a weird movie, structured kind of oddly, but it's filmed well. I like the music it uses. There's good performances in there. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth watching at least once. I don't know if it will sustain its history as a cult classic. I don't know if modern teens are watching it. I was with like some of my younger cousins today. Should I ask one of them? Do you used to watch Donnie Darko? Or is that my generation only?
Probably gonna be the thing where it skips the generation below us, and then when it's like once our generation has kids that are old enough, like it would be something that they would share with them, maybe. I don't know. Like, it's not like a good old family movie night. Let's watch Donnie Darko. It is the like, hey, if your dad is really into movies or something, this might have been one that he liked when he was a kid, when he was in high school. Back when I was your age.
I look forward to like gathering my children around and showing them Napoleon Dynamite.
Right, yeah. Good stuff indeed. We put a lot of hard work into the shows that we make, and yes, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and we'd love it if you would check them all out. You can find out more information on our website at thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. When you type in the Whatnauts, all of our shows will pop up right there. Just don't forget to give us a nice rating and review if you like the shows. If you want to support what we do here at The Whatnauts, patreon.com/The Whatnauts is the best place to do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You can get all kinds of exclusive content at the $3 tier. You can also get a shout out and thank you on all of our shows at the $5 tier. You can support us on Twitch by subscribing to our channel at twitch.tv/The Whatnauts, and we would love to have you all join us for our live streams and talk with us in the chat. And lastly, we have merch. If you want to grab yourself a shirt or a sweatshirt or a mug or something else, go to thewhatnauts.com/store to pick up some merch today. Melissa, we have a few things left over from a couple weeks ago on here that I think we should dive into. Here's a question for you. Has there been a show or a book or movie series or some kind of media property that you purposely did not finish because you didn't want it to end?
Yeah, I started watching the Gilmore Girls 4 years ago. And I got to like season 3, and just like really slowed down, partially because I was talking to a friend about it. She's like, "Oh, I love that show. You're in season 3. That's the best season." And I'm like, I'm already in the best one. Like the later ones aren't as good as this one. Like I had the sense that like I'm already at the peak and it will go downhill. Like that worried me. And I liked the show a lot. It was fun and sweet and charming and comforting. And I wanted to like, I feel bad that I've like really like, I think last year I watched 2 episodes of the entire show. Like I tend to watch things very slowly. This is maybe the slowest I've ever watched anything. But I like to know that it's in my back pocket. Like if I'm, on like a real sad rainy day, I know there's still all that Gilmore Girls you haven't watched yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, the one that stood out was Community. I loved that show to death. I still do. But for a long, long time, I never finished it. I didn't watch that final season. And I eventually started to rewatch it with my girlfriend. And we got to the final season, and I was like, well, I officially haven't seen any of this one. So this is going to be new for both of us. And we finally did finish it. But it was kind of one of those things that I didn't necessarily do it on purpose. That I was like, I'm just not going to watch the last thing. But yeah, I just fell off and like stopped and was like, I'll go watch some other things. And, I finally finished that one. But I think that was legitimately like the only thing that was like, I really, really love this thing. I just haven't finished it yet. So
yeah. I'll do that with stuff. I always aspire to finishing things. And sometimes I get around to them, sometimes I don't. Like, I think later this year, I think I want to finish Hannibal. I've already made it a third of the way.
I did that.
I think that last season might be a little shorter. It's like I've done most of the journey anyway, and that is a show I've consistently wondered about since I stopped watching a couple episodes into season 2. Like, how the heck did that thing ever wrap up?
Right, yeah. Speaking of Hannibal, I did mention I watched all 3 seasons of Killing Eve. Great companion piece. Just
nice.
We did Mr. Robot and Halt and Catch Fire, Hannibal and Killing Eve. Great companion piece. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that recommendation. That's fun to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Hannibal was a good one. I went back and I watched that one though. I still need to watch. There's the last final like half season of Lucifer that came out like a month ago or something.
Now, is this final or is it just most recent?
This is final. This was season 5, like part 2. Here's the last set, the last half of that season. So.
All right. Yeah, that was another show we started and I really liked. I do like some of these things I wish we could maybe return to is like we watched season 1 in a review show. Maybe we'll do the rest in like a monthly series. But I like that you have watched all these so you can tell me how they go. I kind of know what I'm in store for.
Yeah, like that the review show helps me to put a lot of new things on my list of like, ooh, I really like this. Let me go back and watch that. And yeah, it might take me a bit to go back there and finish them. But yeah, I tried to like the ones that I do absolutely love. I'm just like, yeah, I need to go back and watch that. Sam is mentioning Voltron. To be honest, I that is also one I should say. Well, I fell off of that one. I loved the first like 2 seasons, I think is what I saw, and then I didn't really continue. And I know the end is controversial for the fandom, but that is one that I really enjoyed. and would like to go back to someday. I just don't. It's not high up on my list there. But yeah, I don't know, because like I'm also the kind of person that like if I want to get into a series or a franchise or something, I'll usually start from the like beginning, and then like watch all of it, the whole thing, unless I just like really don't like it. Like I tried to start Stargate SG-1, and it really wasn't for me. I liked it. I'm sure I probably would like it a lot more if I saw the like newer stuff that they had done, or the I guess more recent stuff.
Right.
But but like it is that thing where an episode is a contained story, but it is kind of very slowly this larger plot through all of them. But it is, it's kind of like a more space themed Doctor Who almost, but not really without a doctor. Like they go in this portal and it takes them to these other worlds and stuff. And
it is a gate to the stars.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was just that like, this is like just old enough and just like live actiony enough where they were trying to make a serious show and it just wasn't good. It doesn't really hold up.
I like that you describe it as live action Like, despite being completely live action, like it still doesn't quite reach like real human quality. It's just, like, Richard Dean Anderson is 5% computer generated.
I mean, that's kind of just how it feels. Like there were certain things that I was like, I like the scenario. I like the setup. I like the idea behind the show, but just they don't have the technology to do all the effects that they want. They don't have like it's just they had an idea there, but they didn't have the technology to really make this a compelling show for a more modern viewer. Which of course they can't really account for because they're stuck with the technology of their time.
And they aired on Sci-Fi Channel.
Right. Yeah. So it's just like I can't fault them for all of that stuff, but it's just like I don't want to sit here and watch this.
Stargate SG-1 ended the summer my family first got like a DVR.
Oh, okay.
It was like they were having their series finale and like a week-long marathon leading up to the series finale the day we got the DVR, and I'm like, I'll just check out Stargate SG-1. So I've seen like a weird random assortment of later seasons episodes and the series finale.
Interesting.
Knowing zilch about these characters. I just had to learn as I went through the DVR. A brand new treat for me.
Yeah. Interesting stuff there. You have a question.
I do have a question.
I think. Well, I think you have a. No, you have this one here on there. Yeah.
A single question. Very important.
Was this one on 2 weeks ago when we did this?
Yes.
Okay, we just didn't get to it. All right, cool. Go for it, Melissa.
I was watching. I think this must have shown up in Dark. This is from Dark, right?
It did. When I read this, I was like, oh, this is from Dark.
Yeah. Noah or somebody is doing that like classic villain thing where you've got an apple in one hand and a knife in the other, and you cut a slice of apple and you feed yourself the apple you just cut while you stare menacingly at somebody, which is a habit reserved exclusively for villains or for a good guy if he's also an extremely cool, aloof good guy.
Yep.
Yeah. It means something calculating, distant, intense, perhaps threatening.
Yeah.
I've seen this so many places. It's a classic. I like it a lot. But I'd like to wonder what is the other weird, specific eating trope that we can have supervillains do now? If it's not this, then what?
Like, what's the best replacement for that, or what are some, because you have like besides that thing, what are some new sinister eating habits for movie villains?
Sinister eating habits, right? Like if there's somebody who's like, I want something like that, but cutting the apple with the knife, let's jazz it up a little bit. How do we do cutting an apple
Something
with
else.
the knife for the new generation?
One of the first things that came to mind for me was L from Death Note, where he has like all the cake and stuff, and he's just like it's more so how he's eating it, right, than the fact that he's actually eating cake. But it's like he's hunched over this thing, he's like stuffing it like he's like small. I don't know if that's not the right word, because that doesn't seem like menacing, but he's like hunched over this thing of like, it just seems like something that this like skeevy character might do. And then of course I was like, oh wait, we're talking about Death Note here. there is a famous scene in Death Note about, and then I will like take the chip and I will eat the chip and stuff like that. So eating a chip from a bag of chips can be
I'd like to see
menacing.
that be sinister. There's that line at the end of There Will Be Blood where he says he's going to drink the milkshake. Have you seen There Will Be Blood?
I have not. Mm-mm.
You know that line though, right? Where he screams, I drink your milkshake. Yeah. The context of that scene, it's like 10 minutes from the end. I spent the whole movie waiting for the milkshake bit. And it's when he's made all of this money and he's got like a private bowling alley in his house. I never knew the setting of this line was a private bowling alley. And it's like 1920. And so it's an old timey bowling alley. So Paul Dano comes to see him to like sell him a piece of land, like he's destitute. Like, Daniel Day-Lewis, I give you this land so that you can give me the money. I've been trying to hold out and make it my own thing. I can't do it anymore. I just want you to buy me out. Then Daniel Day-Lewis is like, yes, but I had the land next to it. So I just sort of snuck my pipes over there. He's like, if I have a straw, I drink my milkshake. If I have a very long straw, I drink your milkshake. And then he clubs Paul Dano to death with a bowling pin, and that's the end of the movie. But he doesn't literally do it. I'd love to have him literally drink the milkshake.
Yeah. I like, to me, it's all about how aggressive you are about doing something. Like, you could turn someone dipping a carrot into like a ranch dip as like sinister and aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you can that, or it's like how messy they are with it. Like if they're scooping something up with a chip, it's like, is this like a normal scoop, or is this like an abnormally large scoop that will then like drip on your chin and on your chest
covered in
stuff?
Salsa.
Yeah.
Battle salsa.
Battle salsa. Yeah, but like that is the it's about how you do it, I think, right? Because a carrot and ranch dip, not menacing whatsoever.
Yeah, the thing with the apple is that the second you see it, that's like new film language for that's a bad guy, or like a guy you gotta watch out for. Maybe he's on your side, but you gotta play it carefully.
It has the biblical connotation. Like there's so much in that one food, where it's like if he's taking it himself, is that him consuming Eve? Is that how does that work? Is he offering it to you? Right, we have the poisoned apple in Snow White, or you know, like there's so much meaning and stuff packed into that one food.
Plus you got the knife with it. Knife is right there.
Right, yeah. I would like to see more of the put the orange slice in your mouth from
Yes, I was just
Lost and
thinking
just
of
like
that.
smile with that in it.
I need
Right?
to see it again. I want somebody to homage that scene, one of the most iconic moments in television history.
Absolutely. Like
I've
to be honest, you
I've
put
got a John Locke bobblehead, and he's got the orange peel smile.
that's awesome. So to be honest, you put like new sinister habits. I would
Yeah.
like to see some of these sinister characters have the like least sinister things, right? Which would be the orange slice, where it's like he's just having fun. You know what I mean?
Have you watched Burn Notice?
No, I have not, but my parents did. They got really into that show, and they've watched it, I think, like 2 or 3 times.
I watched like the first season or two when it was airing. I remember liking it. But it's about this spy who gets burned, which means like all his contacts disown him. Like he's
Yeah.
not actively in danger, but it's like you have no pull in this community anymore. We act like you don't exist. And he's just like stuck in Miami, like trying to make a life for himself again and become like a private detective. I don't remember. But
Yeah.
he was always eating yogurt. Like there were scenes where he'd like sneak into somebody's house and like do the thing where he's like waiting there for you and like he turns on the lamp, but he's just like eating a yogurt, like a Yoplait he found in their fridge.
Instead of Shack with the can of beans, like the uncooked beans, he's just sitting there with a can of yogurt. Human yogurt
can
juice.
Of yogurt.
What do you call those? A carton? A package?
Yeah, just like a little plastic cup, a container.
Cup? Yeah, a cup might, because it would be like a
canister?
Cup of pudding, right? I don't know. Whatever, a can of yogurt.
I feel like a can is metal. Or like whatever material a Pringles can is made out of. Let's get like evil Pringles duck lips.
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
like
that
any
would be
food
great.
habit could be sinister if you have the right villain doing it. Evil Dunkaroos.
You
evil
have
fun
to have
dip.
something. Yeah, you have to have something with like a grilled cheese that has too much cheese that they bite in, and like the cheese falls out on the opposite end and like stains their pants or something.
I want to see somebody threateningly take a napkin and dab up grease from a pepperoni pizza. But in a way that means they'll kill you.
Yeah. That'd be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Let's get like a banana peel villain. Like they eat a banana sinisterly.
That also has enough connotations. I don't know if you can eat a banana sinisterly. Is that the right? Is that how you say that word? It's always too sexual. It's too phallic. It's just like, I don't know, okay, you're filleting this banana.
But what I want is then like the threat of the peel. What will they do with that peel? How will they use that to hurt me?
Here's another good thing, though. Another sinister thing is when they start talking with food in their hands, right? And so, like, if they have that one carrot that they're about to dip in, and they're just like, you, like, blah, 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 and they're like, sticking
ranch on your face.
In your face. Yeah. Like, that stuff works, but I think it also can have a comedic effect if, like if the villain got a burger that had a tomato, but they don't like tomatoes, so they take the tomato off, but they start talking, and so they're just like waving this like floppy tomato around.
Floppy. Wave something floppy, yeah.
Yeah. Floppy tomatoes.
I want a villain to like do the same thing with the apple, but they pull like an avocado out of their pocket. They have to dig the pit out. But then they like throw the pit like into somebody's eye. You got a weapon inside that food.
There you go. Yeah. What else could you do? Could you do it with soup, like a liquid thing? How can you eat soup menacingly? Write
I don't
in.
know. Write in,
Comments
please.
on the YouTube video.
I feel like any great actor could make they could turn anything sinister. I'd love to see this be a challenge. Like, welcome to
stuff where you have to
Oscars.
peel it, right? Like a potato or an orange where you're peeling it off. Like that stuff can actually be sinister.
Right.
The
human may
there's
be
always
peeled.
Yeah, or it's also too sexual in connotation. I was gonna say the like tying the cherry stem, just something that like says like, hey, I have spent time on this thing. I've practiced this to an extent where like I can do this one thing. Like it's that's kind of why it is sexy, because it is like there is intent
Right.
that,
if I've devoted myself to this physical skill, imagine what other physical skills I've devoted myself to.
Probably nothing useful, but hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what
Do you remember?
Sam say.
Did kids in your middle
Onion.
school like lick
that's
a big red gum wrapper and then try and stick it to their forehead? Do you remember this?
I vaguely do.
Like you'd eat the gum,
idea that it would leave like a red mark on your head, or
like it would kind of sting because it had like the real hot cinnamon in it. Like you'd lick it, stick it to your head, and it would stick, and it would like kind of sting at you.
I don't know.
I want to see a villain make like a paper
Hot
chain
sauce.
of Starburst
Hot
wrappers.
Sauce. Right, yeah. Unwrap the Starburst in their mouth.
I want a villain to do all the things that my middle school classmates did. This is a villain that also gets cold and like sucks their arms inside their shirt.
and then puts their knees up and lifts it over their knee, which is hell from Death Note. That's exactly who he is.
Imagine meeting a villain. Imagine we meet the Mandarin and that's what he's doing.
God, it's so fucking cold in this place.
Oh man.
Hello,
God, some Bond villain with like an ice base. They just suck themselves inside of it a big t-shirt.
Hello, Batman. It's I, the penguin.
This is the Colin Farrell in a big t-shirt starring the Batman.
No, but you could probably do it with hot sauce. Like, hot sauce could be sinister because, like, I mean, hot sauce. There's that visceral reaction to the spice, right? So sometimes people only put like 1 or 2 drops on there to flavor it. But if they continue to just like sit there and shake it to like get more and more of that sauce on there while they're doing their villain monologue, and then just without thinking, just eat it, and then don't react. Like if they can keep that straight face, that's menacing.
I'm just picturing.
Sinister.
I'm picturing that scene from Skyfall where Javier Bardem like walks across the room to get to Daniel Craig tied to a chair, and he's giving that speech about how like you throw a bunch of rats in a pit and then one rat survives and it eats all the other rats, and then you let it loose on the island again and it won't eat your crops because now it only wants to eat other rats. Just that, but he's walking around, he just eating Pillsbury frosting out of the can.
Right? Yeah.
With a finger.
Yep,
no
with
utensil.
his finger.
Or off the edge of a knife. Like a villain may lick blood off of a knife or something. Just frosting. Just funfetti frosting.
Yep. Licking that knife is always a good one.
Man. This is fun. We got to get more villains who eat.
Villains who cook. there
Besides
needs to be
Hannibal.
more. Right. There needs to be more shows or comics or movies about the like ancillary characters within like a superhero universe, like the ones that make the suits or the ones that do all their cooking, like the villains that can afford to have like a staff, right? And like,
my God.
here's my personal chef. Like, what is the life story of the chef that then goes to work for like Dr. Doom or stuff like that? Like, what does he do on his spare time? Is there a support group for chefs that work for villains? Do
all
they
the times like you have to cook with poison and like you're upset that you spent all of this care building a beautiful dish because the villain wanted to like impress their guests, but no, there's poison in it. Like they take one bite and they're dead, and then you have to throw the dish out because you don't need to poison anybody else.
Yeah, like knowing how to cook with all of that stuff, would be fascinating stuff. Sam says, my favorite licking the knife gag comes from some Japanese live-action RPG show. The bad guy seductively licks his knife and then remembers the blade was poisoned and keels over dead.
Classic. Great. Do you think Dr. Doom drinks a lot of smoothies? Like, so that
I feel like he's like, the like healthy smoothie, the one with the like kale and carrot juice and like stuff like that. Like, I feel like he'd be more into that than like a like mango strawberry smoothie.
I just think about how like I know there are some Dr. Doom masks where like he does have a separate jaw piece, but you know, in like the old comics, it's just sort of like one whole thing. He can't move his mouth, you know, like to chew. Maybe he could, like, if he had, it's like he'd have to have like very small slices of something to feed through his like mouth slot. Like he's just got like a little slot, like a mailbox.
Tostino's pizza rolls, big, the finger food of choice for Dr. Doom.
He's just eating crackers because like chips are too curvy. He needs one like perfectly flat. He's just feeding Ritz crackers in there while he like menaces Reed Richards. He's got one straw and he's drinking just like a big smoothie. Like, this is my fuel for the day. I can't eat anything with this mask. I won't take it off.
Here's my last one I can think of that is somewhat menacing is when they have like a handful of like nuts or some kind of candy that they're like tossing up and catching in their mouth. Just again, something that requires skill to eat or to do the thing that they are doing is always menacing. Oh, last one for real. Chopping like a big thing of meat with like a big butcher's knife. Just like
chopping anything.
Chop off the leg here. Yeah.
But you don't bring that around with you. Like a villain can show up anywhere with an apple and a knife. If he's like cutting off like a big, you know, punchable Rocky sized piece of beef, like you have to go to where he is. You're brought there. Do you remember that scene in Lost where Kimi tries to make Saeed eggs?
Kimi tries to make some. Yeah.
It's like one of the flash sideways. I think it's Saeed. Is it Jin? I don't remember who it is. It's a flash sideways. It's sometime in season 6. Like somebody's gotten into some criminal business, and then whoever it is,
I remember
and it's just like Kimi who died like 2 seasons ago, and you haven't thought about, and he's like
back, and he's just like making you eggs, and it's just like what is going on?
It's like why
making eggs?
Why you're here like tied up in this deserted back of a restaurant house? He's like, do you want an omelet?
Eggs is a good one because again we have that connotation of like, hey, you can't make an omelet without breaking a couple eggs, which is cracking skulls or killing people or who knows what, right? So it's just like there you go, making an omelet. Eggs. What's more sinister than eggs? Knows. Let's see here, Melissa. We got the Black Widow movie coming out this week. Are you excited?
We do.
For that?
Oh
yeah, you gonna go see it in theaters? I think you said you were.
We have talked about this. Yeah. I got my tickets for 3:45 p.m. That's Saturday.
Cool. There you go. I'm planning on watching it here at my house from the comfort of my own bed. I'm excited. I don't really know what to expect, and I'm trying to go in with low expectations because I don't think this is getting a sequel. I think there's been enough out there that has been like, yeah, Scarlett Johansson is kind of, they're done with the character. They're not really gonna, this was it. Just like, yeah, we checked the check box to give her thing there. Which means I'm also not necessarily expecting it to really launch much new information. Like, I don't expect there to be the, like, let's talk about the Avengers initiative scene in this movie, right? Because all we've gotten so far are the shows, and all they've done is plant seeds, but they haven't done anything with them yet.
Yeah.
Right? Don't have that one scene that's like, hey, here's what we're working towards. There's been hints, but there's not been like a let's speak about the Avengers initiative.
Oh, this is a movie that takes place like a couple years ago from like well, everything's a couple years ago from Endgame because that zipped us 5 years into the future. But like a couple years ago from Infinity War. Like, it's sort of in the middle of everything that we've seen. It's not going as far back as like Captain Marvel. So I think, and I've read exactly where it's theorized that it may fit into, I don't remember, pre-Civil War. Pre-Civil War, the motion picture, not pre-Civil War, the war. I don't know where it goes. But yeah, I think it might add just some context to what was happening in other corners of the MCU during whatever that time period is. Maybe we are setting something up. There's theories about, this may be the end of Black Widow, or at least Natasha Romanoff is Black Widow, but maybe this is a title that'll get passed around. We'll get to see, maybe we'll carry on with Yelena Belova. Maybe Taskmaster will pop up somewhere else. We don't know who all this is connected to. Thunderbolt Ross is going to be in the movie. I think it's been said that
Thunderbolts, we might get that.
Yeah, Val, from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think it was supposed to have been introduced in this movie.
Yeah, more of Contessa Val. She might be in this. We're not certain. I don't think that if she's in this one or not. But yeah, to have General Thunderbolt Ross in this is going to be interesting, especially with the newest trailer of Shang-Chi that we've seen, because Abomination is in that, and we've often speculated that the Thunderbolts might be making an appearance in Marvel. So I don't know. I'm expecting it to be solid, but I'm not expecting it to be like groundbreaking or very different from what they've done previously.
And that's okay.
Which I'm fine with. Yeah.
We've had a lot of other ground broken recently. Like, we've cracked just this calendar year alone. We've learned a lot more about like magic in the MCU. We got introduced to Madripoor. We got introduced to the TVA. We're in the Eternals later this year. That's going to add so many layers. Who knows what Spider-Man has to bring for us? Shang-Chi is going to be like a whole separate corner of the MCU we've never really visited. So to have this be just like
I'm so stoked.
Action espionage thriller that I'm sure will have some mythological tie-ins to like MCU continuity, flesh some things out, maybe tease a couple things for farther down the road. It's fine. This doesn't have to be like a load-bearing MCU movie.
Yeah. I think I'm just hungry for that stuff of like, what is the next like big thing? What is the next Avengers?
Yeah, and they shifted the order of the TV shows around, but this was always supposed to be the first movie of Phase 4. Like, it has stayed in its original release. The time has moved around, but like they haven't shifted around the chronology of when the movies come out in relation to each other. So, I'm curious to see what this movie's role is as its season premiere of Phase 4.
Yeah. Indeed. Last but not least, I wanted, but was not able to do it. The Many Saints of Newark. This is the prequel to The Sopranos. They released a trailer. I didn't even know this was in the works. So when I saw it and I was like, oh,
new to
this
me.
Is perfect. Yeah. Because I just got done watching The Sopranos and stuff like this. Judging from the trailer, this is a lot more of what I was expecting from that show. Like, I wanted the action, I wanted the killing, I wanted the more menacing mafia stuff.
Right.
Which the show, sure, it's in there. It's kind of spaced out, but like I've said here on the show, it's more of a slice of life story. So I'm interested in seeing this movie to see what they do with it. I think it's fascinating that James Gandolfini's kid is playing him. Since James is no longer with us. That's fascinating. That like it's his kid now filling that role, and if this does well, what does that mean for down the road? I don't know if his kid is much of an actor or if this is his first thing or what, but I don't know. Like if this is a good thing, could they expand the Sopranos universe somehow, some way? Tell more stories about before the TV show takes place? I don't know. But
I know zero things about the Sopranos, except for the infamous series finale. I had no idea this was happening. I think it's definitely an interesting idea. The Sopranos was one of the sort of grandfathers of prestige TV, and like I think it premiered in like maybe very late 90s, very early 2000s. I don't know. And it has like it's still given its regards, in the canon of TV show, but I haven't heard people specifically talk about it in a while. It's just like named in a list. So I think this would be a good time to revisit the show. I'm sure that's a very special experience for the younger Gandolfini to play his father's role. And I just like that title. Like, I have no idea what it refers to, but I just like the weird specific phrase, the Many Saints of Newark. I'm excited to learn who those saints may be.
Yeah. So there you go. I'm excited for that one. But I think we should wrap things up there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Big shout out to Sam. We didn't do our break for housekeeping thing, so big shout out to you, Sam. Thanks for being here in the chat. It's always fun to have you. Thank you for supporting us. We love you a lot. Other cool things that we've done here at the Whatnauts. We're still doing our low-key reactions week to week as that is going on. I've been streaming Hades on Wednesdays after we record the Loki thing. That's a fun game. Let's see. We also, since we mentioned Black Widow, we're going to be doing an episode of the Reactor Core for that. So be on the lookout for that down the road. Man, we have a really interesting episode of the review show that we're going to be recording tomorrow. That I don't think you are going to want to miss. It's probably something you've never heard of before, but it'll be worth checking out. This is Kentaro, the Sweet Tooth Salaryman. And then the week after that, we're going to be finishing up our coverage on Dark. Be on the lookout for that. And then vacation. I'm going on vacation, so
you go on vacation, and I got a couple feelers out, but I haven't decided the exact plan for those like 3 episodes you won't be there.
We'll figure it out. But that being said, Melissa, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. Listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kids shows you feel like only you remember. And Kyle, earlier in this episode, you mentioned Uncut Gems. A friend of the show, Jack, has a podcast called Your Friendly Neighborhood Filmcast, which is just a fun movie discussion. And I was on an episode talking about Uncut Gems.
Cool. Good stuff. Yeah, go check all of that stuff out. If you guys want to find me, I'm at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter. You guys want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts. We are at the Whatnauts on Twitter, so go like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal with all of that. This has been number 150
right
of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. So congratulations to us. Yeah, 150, which means about this time next year is when we will be doing our 200th episode.
Oh,
probably a little earlier. So probably June, like start of June, I would imagine.
Wow. Okay.
Is when we would be doing that. So interesting. Keep that in mind. Sam wants to know if 151 will be a Pokemon special. I don't see why not, but I don't know.
We can talk about Pokemon for at least a chunk of it.
Sure, yeah. Let's do it. Yeah, but that about wraps us up for this week. Thank you for checking this out. We will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.